Hi, I'm Steve Williams, and this is Scooter and the Sticks. As we get older, it's probably important to take stock of how we're doing physically every now and then. A few weeks ago, I turned 71 years old, and a few days ago, I was in the emergency room with symptoms of another heart attack. So let's go for a ride, and I'll talk a little bit about how those kind of medical adventures can force us to take an inventory of life. 10 years ago, I had a heart attack. I was in the ER when it happened, avoiding what would have likely been fatal had I been out on the road somewhere when it happened. I remember the cardiologist telling me if I ever felt the same way again, go directly to the emergency room. It's been 10 years since I had those symptoms. I'll put a link in the description to a blog post that talks about that heart attack. So a few days ago, I wasn't feeling right. I was feeling those old symptoms. So I went to the emergency room, and I've sort of felt some of this stuff before, and telling myself I'll be okay. But I put the blood pressure monitor on my arm, and it read 192 over 100 on the display. And my blood pressure's normally low. So it was pretty hard for me to lie to myself looking at that screen. So all these old familiar symptoms, they all sort of came together, the blood pressure, everything, and I was lucky to be completely honest with myself and made the decision to go to the emergency room. The short story is I'm fine. Myriad tests and a hospital admission to monitor me for 24 hours ruled out any indication of heart attack or stroke. The final assessment they gave me was that I had an uncontrolled hypertensive event. My blood pressure was out of control. By the time I got out of the hospital, it was back to normal. They had changed the dosage of my blood pressure medication, which is part of my daily cocktail of pills I take as a heart attack survivor. And this leads me to the lesson I learned 10 years ago. I don't know best. In fact, I often don't know what's going on in my life. After the first heart attack, I did some Google research. It said that 80% of men with the kind of heart attack I had would have a second within a year, and I'd be dead in 3. My cardiologist politely explained that those statistics reflected the notion that a lot of men think they know best when it comes to medicine. After a heart attack, they'll start feeling a little better and stop taking their meds. They won't change their diet, won't start exercising, and don't do anything about managing the stress in their life. He told me that if I do what I'm told, I'll be fine. It was good to hear, and a fine reminder that I don't know best. When it comes to medical issues in my life, I do what the doctors tell me. had a long ride in mind for the day I was in the hospital. The doctor said to take it easy, so I'll wait a couple weeks before embarking on that ride. And I'll just do some short rides close to home, like today, a ride to the pharmacy. I plan to keep riding, and I will balance my medical conditions with a periodic, deliberate inventory of my mind and body. It's part of my overall plan to manage the risk I face on the road. It sure would be easy to ignore everything and just forge ahead as if nothing happened. Thankfully, I am aware that that's just not true. And with a tiny bit of recognition of that truth, I think I'll be able to continue to enjoy the wind in my face. So the question for all of us aging riders or riders with health issues, are the eyes open or closed? So that'll wrap up this episode of Scooter and the Sticks. Until next time, be well and ride safe.